Want some powder for that?
Nope. Well, welcome to our very first live.
Yeah.
Glowing up black. We're a little worried that we're not doing it right.
This is the first live. We also have like a slightly different camera situation set up. So
if we're looking at odd angles and the things that don't make sense, just bear with us.
Yeah, forgive us. I have a screen right here, so I keep looking down, and I'm trying to look up in a camera that I can't see myself on. So yeah, so we're gonna see if any of you guys are have joined us. Maybe give you guys
pop in
3 minutes or so to come in and join the conversation. But if not, we'll see you in the comments. You guys love
please comment, please engage, let us know what you think.
Yeah, we love it.
And we're going to be getting into the 8th episode of the most ridiculously dramatic seasons of Married at First Sight.
Yeah.
In modern history.
Oh gosh. Okay. now who's the most dramatic, right? Like
you gotta lay it on thick. This is a serious situation, so we have to be descriptive in the way that we qualify these things. Right. I'm over here BSing, but we're gonna get into this.
You really are. Should we do our normal thing because we don't always introduce ourselves?
This is the Glowing Up Black podcast. Mm-hmm. I am Eric,
and I'm Danni.
And we are here talking to you guys about the things that we love that make sense for us as we design our dream life, which includes dissecting a little reality television.
We just love talking about love and relationship and
commitment.
Specifically marriage through the lens of marriage. And we've always enjoyed this show. Mm-hmm. We've watched it off and on. And so, yeah, this season has been
juicy.
And it's something for us to do together. Couples are always looking for things to do together. So.
Exactly. We're always watching something and then we'll spend a couple hours talking about it. So we figured we'd go on live and do it on air.
I know. And if we're taking too long to get to your favorite couples, don't worry. You can always, speed us up in the settings. Watch us
after we finish live.
After we finish live. If you have enjoyed us thus far, this is our third video on Married at First Sight. Mm-hmm. And, go ahead and give us a like and a subscribe or leave a comment. We want to know your thoughts on the show and what's happening.
We've had a couple good comments. People are coming for Paige. People are coming for Vinny. People are
I think
very supportive.
Some people don't like Brianna.
Yeah, a little bit, but
a couple of people. Somebody was like, she needs to watch her mouth. She's like, whoa.
Try to use smart comments.
Yeah, when he pulled in the closet. But anyway, so we've given you guys about 4 minutes to come in. So we're just going to start because, for those of you who are going to watch this after the live, we want to keep the party moving. So I have in my notes.
Haley and Jacob.
Yes.
Jake for short. I think that she's telling herself something that's incorrect. I think she's telling herself that the situation is too much for her. And that there may be some truth to that, but I think the real issue is that incorrect? She's just not into him. I think if it had been someone more to her liking, she would be way more acclimated and comfortable with the process. But because he's so off the beaten path.
So we learned something new about Haley in this episode. And what we learned was that her friend said she hadn't been in a relationship since their freshman year of college.
Oh, that's a long
Haley
time.
Is like 29.
I guess that makes sense. She's 28. She said 7 years. So
yeah. So, whoa.
No, I'm just saying, not as in how dare she, as in, no, it's not actually 7 years that she's been single. It's more like 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But either way, for me, when you are out of the game for that long, you're going to find it is very common. I know this from my single friends. Hey, girls.
They're going to hate you.
They are, but I'm not shouting them out. So I'm not. This is not like a Issa.
You're putting yourself on blast.
It's not an Issa Molly moment from Insecure. Like I'm not putting you on blast because nobody knows who you are. So, but anyway. you begin to focus on the tiniest little details,
Right.
anything to pull yourself out of a situation, from getting hurt, from being, grossed out, from being annoyed, like all those things. And I just think that Haley at this point in her life is like, yeah, marriage sounds like a good thing. Because I do think I think that when you're single, not just when you're single, but when you're single and you're kind of tired of being single,
right,
getting married sounds like a great idea, right? Like it
That's
just
a different
sounds like,
psychology. It's like, I'm done with it.
Let
I
me
don't
t-
have to deal with it anymore.
yeah, because
I
you're
pick
off
my
the
one
scene.
person, and I no longer have to work at this dating thing. Not
Exactly.
knowing that you're gonna have to work at this marriage thing
with that one
is
person.
every day. They're already like Vinny was like, oh yeah, I gotta come home to the same person every day. Sometimes I just want to be alone. But we'll get into that.
So I just think that Haley is finding little things. And I mean, listen, the 80s thing, Jacob makes it a big thing. But in the grand scheme of things, there's also lots of other things that they have to find out about each other. Right. So they did kind of have this awkward, I don't know if it was awkward, but it was almost like they went back to a first date, and we're kind of asking like basic questions that you would ask on a first date.
Right.
And I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like at a certain point, I was just like, dang, like it is kind of strange to be watching this, but I think they did need a reset. I think they kind of like
need a reset because they aren't actually, they haven't really connected. They're still in information grab mode, information acquisition mode. Like, who are you and what do I like about you? But
and they don't know, and they have to figure that out. And so they both met with friends, right, of each other. And I feel like Jacob's friend was really good at calling out, like, this is who he is. And she's like, yeah, that's right. That's what I've noticed.
The friends were like the best part of this episode.
Of this entire episode, that's true.
Because they were giving every couple good advice. Yeah. With Haley and Jacob, his friends were telling her he's authentic. He's going to wear it all on his sleeve, which I think he is. But I think you had mentioned something about he has the potential to be really patient, but he also has these insecurities that are just going to ruin that for him.
Yes, because his Jacob's friend was saying that, he just needs you to be direct, but he's like really loyal and, and all that. And I think that Haley either has an issue tapping in to her feelings, and because she's so used to just running from them, or when a situation gets uncomfortable, she's like, let me get out of this. Like, I gotta go, I gotta move on.
Yeah, she's not used to dealing with confrontation in the moment, and someone has to drag her to that, I think, and he's gonna get really tired of having to drag her to it.
Because I think I think he could, right? I do think him being a little bit older, a little bit calmer, a little bit more pragmatic. I'm not gonna say calmer because she's not like all over the place, but he's just a little bit more pragmatic. But he's just like, but I need you to give me the deets, like tell me how you're feeling, and I can, whatever. But he has that insecurity of, I'm too old, because he said that several times now.
He said, I'm too old. The intimacy was the reason why she decided to go
maybe
the
she
other
doesn't
way.
think I'm attractive.
And
like, I just need to know what it is.
Maybe that's true. She was like,
it is true.
I need you to push me over the edge. She called a Chris on it. She was like, let me just try it out, see if I get emotions off of it.
Yeah.
And it didn't work.
Yeah, people have been saying that Haley is the female Chris of this season. I don't think she's I don't agree with that. Just kind of, as horrible as Chris is. But I do think that she has taken Jacob on an emotional roller coaster, and she needs to be held accountable. But her girlfriend did hold her to account for that.
Yes, her girlfriend was like,
I'm not hearing what the issue is.
She was like, you don't like his style. Okay, what else?
Yeah.
No, seriously, what else?
And this is why it's really helpful to have like married friends. I don't know. I don't actually remember if her friend was married or not, but it's just helpful because
I think all of her friends are married. Like, she's been to so many weddings.
Yes, that was the thing, that she's like the 27th dress. So I just think it's important, and I'm not saying it's not a hierarchy thing, right? Like, married people aren't better than single people. It's not that, but it's just like when you're walking into a relationship, especially if you have some years in your marriage, you figure out like, this stuff is small potatoes
Mm-hmm.
and there's just bigger fish to fry. There's just
Mhm.
always bigger fish to fry. And you could look at the small potato stuff,
Mhm.
but you're never going to get anywhere if you were just focusing on that stuff, because it really doesn't have any like real, like it doesn't, there's no meat. There's no meat there. Like it just doesn't matter.
That's exactly what I was thinking. It does not matter in the grand scheme
In the
of things.
grand scheme of
It does not
things.
matter.
Yeah.
You know,
And there's deeper reasons why the experts put them together.
Mhm.
And really, I love the part where all couples kind of try to get to like, okay, why did they put us together? Let's try to figure that out.
Well, at least one person in every couple this season
Mhm.
was like, the experts did something for a reason. I'm not just going to be flying off at the handle and doing whatever and being upset. I'm just going to say, all right, what did the experts see? Let me try to see that.
Yeah.
At least one person in every couple. But,
Yeah.
you know.
All right. Are we moving on? Because, oh my gosh, we spent 10 minutes on just them.
Yeah, we're going to have to get to the juicy ones. So we have Giovanni Diamond. She says, Mercedes isn't pregnant.
Hi, Giovanni.
Paige needs to find a new church. Amen to that. Like, where are Paige's friends? Like, and her family? She's got nobody. Yeah. It's the most upsetting thing. And then Chris needs to be sued by all the MAFS fans
for wasting
and
our
viewers
damn
for wasting
time.
Our time. Honestly, I feel the show will be canceled. So never. This was the best boon to the show. It's all drama is good drama for reality television.
Here's what I'm gonna say about that, because in a little, I don't think that the show is gonna be canceled, but I do think that producers probably looked at this Chris Paige situation.
It's like, this was a little much. We can't.
And they pulled back. They did pull back this episode, and you felt like finally there was a bit of like, this episode is almost, the episode felt really long, and it almost felt boring compared to the other ones, but you felt like you could take a breather, like, because it's like, this is what marriage, this is what the show is supposed to be about, right? Like these little things that we're getting over, not like these huge big things that come out of nowhere. Like that's not what that show is about. You can go watch Love and Marriage Huntsville for that stuff.
Which we've talked about. But you could see real work being done in the marriages that were reasonable in this episode. Some slight work. You know, some people need some psychology or some perspective shifts in their relationships. But for the most part, people were
what do you say? Pastor wears his church cow. Oh.
And Dr. Salt and Pepper needs Jesus because they are ruining people's lives with this crazy show. I'm a fan of Pastor Cal and Dr. Pepper.
So I just started following Pastor Cal on Instagram.
What's his gram like?
Here's what I'm gonna say. All right. I don't know if Pastor Cal he probably won't ever run across this video, right? So I still like Pastor Cal on the show. But I will say, when you get on the Instagram, it's a little like cringe.
Is it like, I'm trying to be young pastor, keeping up with the Joneses, or
it's just like giving me basic Instagram person. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna let you check it out for yourself. Okay. Because you know what it is. I don't want to come for anybody.
Instagram game was on point. I'd be like, it's a little weird. So if it's basic, I'm like, that matches. That's fine.
It's basic, but it's not giving you.
We'll have to look.
It's not giving me mature. It's giving me.
Maybe someone else runs it.
Pick me energy, but from a male perspective. And that's not really what he gives on the show. So it's kind of weird. People who understand that language, like they'll get what I'm saying. But anyway, I'm not coming for Pastor Cal. I still enjoy him on the show. Also, I think we talked about in one of our podcast episodes before we started doing YouTube, that we got married on TV, not at first sight, and not like, it just, we just happened to do our wedding on TV.
Right. It was a wedding planning.
Producers have a heavy hand in all the stuff. And our
if you
marriage.
Are in front of a camera, there's a producer behind the camera who is talking through the scene, how it should go, the setup, put this camera here, and then have the person walk in, go talk about this topic, repeat this question.
But even beyond that, like the show was, we're not going to get into it because it was like a 1-season show, and it's like no shade to the person. Like, I still like the host and everything, but the show is really about him, and he was like a wedding planner. And even though it's like, oh, this person is planning your whole wedding, like, no, it was really the producers, and he kind of did what he did on the day of the wedding, but it wasn't really, this is what I'm saying, like, producers have a heavy hand in reality TV.
Right.
And
we
you
were
know,
just
we
one
could always
episode
talk about it, but,
in
you know.
a full season. So it wasn't
Right,
like
it
we were a
wasn't-
full season of
Yeah, it wasn't like we were the stars of the show or whatever. So anyway, that's that. Just a little, you
Getting
know,
back
backstory.
to Married at First Sight. We're on Vinny and Brianna now.
Yes.
Thank God Vinny stopped at the parking deck, because I feel like,
well, give the back. He stopped. What do you
so
mean?
he got pissed off. He thought
the last
Brianna was
episode.
being disrespectful.
Rude. Yeah,
and
disrespectful.
rude, and like,
because she laughed at him,
snippy, but basically demeaning him, saying you're messy, you're dumb, you're an idiot. She was basically alluding
he took
to that.
it.
He interpreted all of that because of whatever insecurity.
She said he spilled champagne. She said, "Oh, that's so Vinny of you."
Right.
Like all over the place, and he just thought that was the rudest,
like,
most disrespectful thing.
He went in. He didn't go in. He got really like in his feelings and silent, and she knew it, so she pressed him about it.
Yeah, but we talked about that last episode.
So he
this
left.
episode,
he actually left. But you find out in this episode that he came back after making it to the parking garage. And I will say, you know, when we were first in a relationship, way back in, I think maybe like a month and a half, 2 months in, and we had like a heated argument, and I had planned on staying at her apartment that night, but I was like, I just want to leave, and I could go home. I could walk home. It was not that big a deal, but I decided to stay. And I think that's a really important piece of conflict resolution in any relationship, but also especially in a marriage, is that you have to stick through the difficult part of the arguments, all the pent up emotion and all of that. You can take a deep breath. You can come back after 5 minutes, but you got to stick it through. You cannot leave and make leaving an option.
All right. We don't know anything about that. I've been trying not to dive too deep into how they produce the show, just because it takes you out of it, and like I just rather focus on the couples. But you know,
yeah, it's true.
We have seen some of the allegations.
Fill in some slots here and there, and they might go searching for people to be on the show. So
yeah, but so with Vinny, he comes back after he storms out of the apartment, and he decides to stick it out. And I thought that was really cool and showed his maturity. I do have some questions about Vinny.
Lack of maturity there. It's not lack of maturity. We talked about it. It's his lack of vocabulary. He has feelings, but he does not put full words and sentences to them.
Yeah, it's like he came back and he was just like ready to move on.
Right.
And it felt like Brianna talked more. And I think that was really his opportunity to say, like, let me break down why I felt disrespected. Let me break down why respect is such a big thing. Maybe here's this thing. This was what my family life was like, or this is my culture, or whatever. And it's like, he's not using any of the words, and he's got to use all the words.
The specific thing that bothered you.
I think he believes, like, if I just breathe it out and let it go, that's me being in this. And I'm like, she's gonna hurt your feelings more because she needs the words. Like, she's an engineer. She has a scientist's mind. You have to give her the tools to figure you out. Otherwise, she's gonna keep getting it wrong. That's just like,
and you're
gonna
gonna
be what
start getting resentful because there's always another misstep by her. She's gonna feel, on eggshells all the time. I
think that Vinny, there's some things happening with him. Like, I notice he uses like the word love a lot, and we're perfect for each other, or she's perfect for me, or
he's
whatever.
A romantic,
he has
thinks that
these
there's like
notions.
This perfect ideal.
Yes, and even when he was talking to his friend about their situation,
right?
His friend was just kind of like, you can't like exist in this marriage and only think like she needs to handle a situation how I handle it. Otherwise, that means that she has bad intentions, or she's trying to hurt my feeling, or she's a bad person. And so that was my struggle. Like, I feel like he sees things in absolutes. And so he's like, okay, well, I decided that she was there for me on that first night after the honeymoon. And so we had sex, we're like on the path to love. And they gave kind of a little sneak peek for next week where he's like, I think the L word's going to be coming real soon. And she was like,
It's been what, 3 weeks max by the time we see this next episode.
I can't tell. I need them to put at the beginning of every scene because I'm missing.
They do when they break scenes and they sort of move.
So you're saying they're at 15 days?
I've seen 15 days in this episode.
Okay.
So I'm thinking next episode it's going to be no more than 21 days in, no more.
So you think like a week passes for every episode?
Well, now it's moving a little faster because the crew's not around as much and they have to put in more content. But
look at him sounding like a producer. He's not a producer at all.
I'm not.
Talk about the crew.
I'm in the mindset. Yeah. But his friend definitely demanded him to not be reactive and sensitive. And to, give people grace. Mm-hmm. Like, what was her intention? Like, honestly, does she feel for you? Does she care about you? Then she's not coming for you. Relax.
And even if her intention was to make fun of him, that she didn't mean to hurt his feelings and she didn't mean to disrespect him. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes people because I think that was her thing. She said, like, I just kind of joke like that with my family and friends. And she said that on Unfiltered. So again, we encourage you guys to watch Unfiltered if you can. Right. Although, I'm going to be honest, watching Unfiltered before 2 hours of this show is a lot.
It's a lot. It's a commitment. 2 hours, I think at this point, like 2 hours made sense for the first couple of episodes.
They need to bring it back down.
Like, all right, guys.
I think they will. Do they do that? You guys let us know in the comments. Do they
must have had so much content.
Tamper down the episodes? Because I'm like, I don't remember the show being
last season was
2 hours. Maybe an hour and a half, but not 2 hours. No. It's too much.
It's a lot. So Vinny and Brianna also had a game.
I'm looking at my notes, guys.
With their family. And in my mind, that was like one of the cutest, sort of syncs of families that has occurred.
Yeah, his mom is really cute. Her mom's cute.
Put them in a room and realize that we're building a family here and get to know each other. I feel like that doesn't happen as often. And it definitely sort of, it just brings to my mind, why have I not seen Paige's family?
We need to put an APB out on Paige's family. Matter of fact, her family and friends, where they at?
We know she has friends because they were all at the wedding.
How could we have? But where have they been? How could we have a scene with Chris? And I don't want to get into them yet. We're going to put them at the end. But how could we have a scene with Chris, his pastor, and a homeboy, and Chris and his ex-fiancée, and we still haven't seen Paige with Nan Parent, brother, sister, her best friends? Where they at? I know she's my soror, so they're out there.
I don't know. We'll figure it out. We're gonna talk about
where the Reds at.
So, are we done with Brianna and Vincent?
Yeah, I think we're done. I mean, do you still have a good feeling about them?
No. So in the totality of things, I'm rooting for Vincent and Brianna and Clara and Ryan.
Okay. Yeah. So. I like glitching a little bit ugly. But I'm gonna say I like them more this episode. I like them more.
Yes.
Did we talk about Clara and Ryan? We didn't get to them.
No, we haven't yet.
Oh, we're gonna talk to them next. Yes. Okay, cool. This is good.
Are we doing Clara and Ryan next, or
we're doing
Eric
Clara
and Virginia?
I thought we talked about them already.
No, we haven't talked about it.
Oh, sorry, guys.
We're both not a fan of Eric and Virginia.
You know what it is? I'm not sure about. Okay,
the worst setup in the planet. I think that they were like, yes, let's get old and settled and put her with fun and new, and it's just going to be the best compromise ever. But I don't even think that matches up on paper. Like, they literally took two separate lifestyles. They don't complement each other at all. They're literally in exact conflict.
Eric and Virginia?
Yes. It makes no sense why these two are together.
But you know what? Okay, sure. But when Eric was talking when his friend pulled him aside, and at first I was confused. I thought it was her friend.
That was her friend. Cole.
Wait, no.
Cole?
Okay, yeah, but there was a different moment where he was talking to his friend, and his friend was saying, like, essentially his friend was saying, we want our friend back. Like, we're happy about Virginia. She seemed, based on the wedding, like, she grabbed his face, remember, and she seemed like the life of the party.
Yes.
And we're like, this is good. She's going to bring our friend back to the middle because he's like way off to this side, which leads me to believe that Eric
trying to bring
used to
him out of
be,
his shell.
yes, that he used to be a little bit more fun, but now maybe because he was married for 6 years and he was a pilot, sounds like he was unhappily married or something like that. They didn't end up working out. And so they're like, yeah, you need to like chill, because remember, at one of the episodes, Virginia alluded to the fact that he's a Southern conservative.
He says that.
And
that's like literally his description of himself.
And she's not. And I think that she's like, he's very conservative. And we know conservatives don't, they just do their dirt in the dark, right? Like they're not really conservative. So some of them are, but she was just like, they just like to be morality police. Right. Let me not get in. I'm not trying to be political, but yeah. Anyway, I think his friends think that it is a good match, and I think that they think that he's gone to the extreme. You know too much. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Tell us.
No, I just mean in terms of like watching her problems, watching his problems. I'm too much outside the bubble looking in to see them working properly. I think if I was less engaged, I'd be like, okay, this might be a fun couple. This might work out. Yeah. But at the end of the day, like Eric has like we know he's controlling.
He does have control issues.
He doesn't even realize it. He thinks it's like him being a gentleman or nice or like a husband or traditional. But he has real it's like him chauvinist tendencies.
The leader of his family.
And
yeah, it's a little bit. It's more than a little bit strange.
Basically, his entire ethos is that I have been married before. I'm ready for marriage. I'm at a stage of my life. I'm older than you. So everything I do and I want comes from like this experience and knowledge set. That means it's perfect, well-informed, and should be followed.
He thinks he's like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
He thinks he should be sitting on the couch.
He has to bring her into what's right.
Every single time he mentions her, he says two things. He says, our physical connection is amazing, means I find her attractive.
Right.
And she's going to have to change some stuff.
Yeah.
I don't approve something about her. That's all he says. He never says he has to change.
You know what I don't mind though? Because I think oftentimes in media, women get accused of being the ones who are wanting to change the other person. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he's really letting you know like that anybody in a relationship can come in with that. Like,
he's
here are the things you need to adjust.
Yep.
And he really is. And I think no one is really, I mean, well, Virginia's she's sticking up for herself.
I don't think that they show it as much. I don't think that they
believes
show it
her.
much.
Like, I don't think he's moved by it.
No, he's definitely
you can see it in her face. Like, he talks like, oh my God, that scene where she came back from the wedding. Mm-hmm. So she went out of town to a friend's wedding. He didn't go. We're not sure why, but whatever. She was a bridesmaid. He was nervous about her being around all the guy friends and drinking. Mm-hmm. So he wanted them to beef up communication. And she comes back. She was like, I was worried that you're like going to want me to constantly be checking in with you. And he's like, oh, no, not constantly. He's like, you know, he said, no, it worked for me. We talk like what, every hour. And she just like, you just see her face get tight. Like,
that's too much.
That is constant.
Too much. I'm at a wedding. I think she was in the wedding and she has to text her husband every hour. I get it. Text me when you get there. Text me when you have some downtime. You know, fill me in, FaceTime me. I want to see the environment, see what's going on. But every hour on the hour, like, put a GPS on me and be happy about it if it's that serious, you know?
That's just a lot. Like, I mean, I feel like...
I think he's got insecurity.
I think lots of couples...
That's where the controlling thing comes from. He's insecure and wants to know that his wife is only his and he can control it so she can never...
I think he's more, he's like, I'd rather control you than some other guy control you. And I think his own chauvinistic ideas really, that's why he thinks how he thinks, like about her guy friends and things, you know, because he's like, I know how I am. So
that's exactly, whenever he says, I know how guys are, I'm like,
or are you this way?
Right. And then,
you know,
the fact that he, so one of Virginia's friends, his name is Cole, takes Eric out into the takes him out onto the balcony and has like a man with him, a heart to heart or whatever like that. And he basically, you know, in his own male way is like, I'm gonna stick up for my little sister, basically, and says like, you need to not be so controlling, and you know, just trust that we all have her best interest at heart, and she's ready for this. And it was just really interesting the way, you know, I don't know how well he took the controlling part because he didn't really respond to it outside of like, you know, pursed lips and whatnot. But when he was like, when Cole, the friend of Virginia, said to him, Virginia's really ready for this, that's all she's talked about and whatnot, it was like that was gold for him. Like he's so willing to take this external dude's opinion about where she is as opposed to her words about it. You know, and it's so for me, it was still sort of this objectification in a way, like you don't, or objectification in that Virginia's not allowed to have any agency. Do what I tell you to do, and hopefully your friends agree with that as well.
Yeah.
But if you ever break outside of my box, and he has said it almost every episode since the beginning, that's going to be it. If she does anything that crosses my boundaries, that's it. That's going to be the end of it. That's the only way it could end.
Yeah, it's actually jarring and not disappointing, but alarming.
Yeah.
Because it's like he doesn't seem scary, but
that controlling stuff, it comes out in other ways.
It's scary. It's scary. Yeah. All right. So we don't know about those two, unless he does all the changes that he wants her to do. Like come into the 21st century, dude.
Right.
So now we're on to Ryan and Clara. Finally, I feel like we have a little bit more to say about them this week because they've been kind of on the boring express.
I think I'm just now getting used to who Ryan is, and I think there's two things.
Don't know him.
I think you mentioned something though that's poignant about his personality. He is. Thank you. Thank you.
You're free, babe.
He is extremely self-conscious, like always worried about presenting the right image. Now, whether or not he has it like all buttoned up internally or at home or whatever that case is,
or behind closed doors,
or behind closed cabinets,
a mess.
He's always worried about his image. And for me, you know, just thinking about like who he is and how he grew up and whatnot, and then also thinking about who his brother is. I don't know if you guys remember watching like the first episode or the episode where he got married and his brother was in the scene. His brother is like the most chill person on the planet. And he's just sitting like this the whole time. Like, I give no F's at all. Ryan's like the complete opposite of that. Like, I'm always buttoned up. My hair is slicked back all the time. And
I think
it's
they're
because
similar,
of the way
just
he
different.
grew up.
But yeah.
I think he chose a different way in terms of how he related to his environment. I think he grew up in a...
well, he told us he grew up in a very conservative neighborhood.
Right.
He's very conservative. I think both his parents are pastors.
Yep. He grew up in the church.
He grew up in an area where there were not other people who looked like him.
Right.
You know,
said something though. You said something about him being a black man dating white women and how he has to take the safe road.
Yes.
His own protection.
Well, so part of the whole thing with Clara, right, this whole time is that she's like, he's moving so slow, like I'm so frustrated. And she continues this episode.
2 weeks.
Like, and she's just like, you know, we do some things and we don't do others. And like, you know, like I'm so frustrated, blah, blah, blah. And I think, so the question that I've kind of like come to about Ryan is, if you're a black man who grows up in an environment where you're not around, where you're one of, you know, a few other black people, and you are used to dating non-black women, right? Or even non-women of color, then he may have had some things happen to him. He may have experienced some things or even had some things said to him. And so he has learned to take it slow.
Right. So that he doesn't get caught up in a perceived negative situation.
Right. And so I'm feeling like that's kind of his MO here.
Right.
That maybe something has happened, you know, in his pursuit of women who look like Clara, where he feels like, because I think he's like, I'm on the football team. He grew up in the suburbs in a conservative area, right? Like it all leads to, that he tends to date women who look like Clara. I think she was very clear on that she liked a guy who was, of color or something like that, right? Either mixed or, that was her thing, that she wanted. And so perhaps she's like more, kind of like ready to, like, I don't know, jump his bones or whatever. And we could,
well, she has said
digest that like, too.
I move fast. Not only do I say the L word fast, but like, I don't wait that long before I'm intimate with somebody. And I don't think it's a big deal.
But she also has talked about how some of her friends, like the one guy, I think the last guy she dated before she started the show, how he called her like, hey, you look great tonight. Your friend though, can you give me her number? And she's like, and we had been intimate, and he still had no problem asking me, like, for my friend's information. That says a lot. Let's just dive on that, real quick. There's a lot of stuff going on with them.
Very much so. If a guy is willing to call you, and then say, can I get the name and number for your friend? And we've been intimate in the past, it means he's looking at you in a very particular way. It just means that, hey, we had a fun night. You don't care. I don't care. That's the way life goes.
So what I wrote was, like, Clara seems like she needs Ryan to deem her worthy of his affection. And I think that she like can't trust her own feelings of like moving fast and like falling for him until he's like, 2 feet in the sand, like, all right, I love you. You're the best. You're the most beautiful. I choose you. It's a pick me, choose me, love me kind of situation.
Well, that's why I'm for Ryan and Claire. Because unlike, in my mind, Virginia and Eric, where it seems like they should be complementary and should bring each other to the middle, I think Ryan and Claire are that as well, but in a more complementary way, right? She's used to just sort of flying by the seat of her pants, and she needs to slow down and be more grounded in the steps she's taking. And he's too much in his head and far too analytical, and he needs to just let go a little bit. So I feel like if they can communicate properly and make things work, they're going to be good.
I am trying to figure out what it is though. Like, does she just want love, or does she want Ryan? Because I don't see what he's giving. I'm not saying he's not giving anything. He seems like a very sweet guy, but beyond that,
I think it might be that because she seems not like a star on TV.
She's putting on, like, that's probably true. Everybody's not made for TV, and they can be really different behind the scenes. And so there's that. And you're absolutely right on that. But it just seems like she also has this performative quality. But I guess they both do on some. He's performing perfection, not amazingly, but he's performing perfection. And she's performing like, I'm ready to make space in my life for this person. And now I get to, show off to my friends and have this. But then she also like oddly seems like she's holding back too from her party girl. She's like, I'm not gonna go full Virginia, but like I'm a little bit more, kind of out there than she's been.
Piece, right? He needs to be. And thank you for joining us, Lee. See your commenting. Yes, we've been watching since season 1 as well.
Well, Chris is the worst. Luke was horrible. And Matt too. Is that Matt and Amber? Oh my God.
There have been some bad ones.
There's always a bad one. A rotten apple.
But yeah, on every season. He needs to get over this idea of perfection and how he's presented in the world. Like, be yourself, be comfortable with yourself. I think that's the piece. Yeah. That's the piece that we're not seeing. I told you that if there's something that's happened to him as a kid, whether it's just something that shaped his identity.
Maybe being a pastor's kid. Are you familiar? Like being a PK and having all eyes on you in your community or your church, that in and of itself. So it maybe is not even what we previously said. It could just be that he grew up as a pastor's kid and always had to look like he had it together.
Right.
Because I think that's a whole thing.
That could be a large part of it. But I also think that he's just not been like, he's like, okay, this is who I am. Yeah. I'm clearly who this is an authentic piece of me. Yeah. What I haven't told you is that there's 2 more layers underneath that. And I'm not going to tell you these parts while we're on TV. So there, I think that true. Just like sort of with Karen and Miles, they need to be off the camera for them to be really open and honest with each other. But we'll see. Yeah. I'm rooting for them.
I'm still rooting for them. I think they could make it work. All right, now for the
the juicy bits. I think Ryan is kind of selfish. Why? Claire seems to be giving way more emotionally.
That's what I said, Lee. My thing, I don't know if you were here when I said that, but like I don't get what Ryan, I don't get what she's into yet. Like I do think that Claire is more present. And I think unless he's completely
she's a naturally herself
different
personality
off camera, I don't really see it. And it seems like she's more, I do think that she's potentially more into him because she's ready for that phase of her life. Like she's ready for somebody to choose her and to say that she's worthy and she's willing to work with whatever she's got.
You know what the possibility is?
What?
Ryan may be as boring as Jacob.
Yeah.
That just may be the truth. If that's the case, sorry, Clara.
But how do you fall in love with boring, right? Like that's
people want
it's like nice, right? It's not a characteristic. So there's got to be something else there. I do think he has Christian values, and I think that because she grew up in the church, even though she has said that she swayed far from that. Now, I think that, when you grow up that way, unless you were like abused, you still can kind of be attracted to that kind of what you were brought up under. So I think that's probably, she thinks she also said that she has dated really crappy guys. And so I think that him being a solid guy is what's probably most attractive to her. But I do think she's gonna get involved. I think she must. Sometimes I listen. I can't put it on her because she hasn't said it. But sometimes I do wonder, like, does she think because of his background, not even his background, but who he is, that he's gonna be naturally more spicy than her? You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean spicy?
A little bit more flavored, less vanilla.
So you're saying because he's black?
Yeah, I wonder.
Are you saying she's got jungle fever?
All right. First of all, I hate that term, but
I went there. Are you saying that she might be a little bit like, I like the flavorful people because
she has said that she likes, she likes guys of color or something. I don't remember, but it was like way back in her casting phase or when they were preparing to get married. And so I just think similar to somebody said something about who was the other person? Luke. So that's the thing with Luke, right? When Luke, I can't remember his wife's name, Kate, maybe like 2 seasons ago, Luke similarly did not like Kate, right? And his thing was she's very vanilla. And he was like, I asked for the women that I date are more. He's like, I'm more into Brazilian women and no. Okay. And so his thing was that, and now I think he's with like a black woman or maybe she's mixed or something like that. And that was his thing. Like he liked women, that were not as like, I don't know. Like
we'll see. I mean, in terms of Clara, we'll see if it's.
But Clara herself is spicy.
The idea of Ryan, or I'm into Ryan.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
All right, Team Ryan. All right, so now we're here for the for the Rumble.
The setup. So.
Chris Paige and we think her name is Mercedes. We kind of missed it. I don't know.
Yes. Can you guys confirm? Was her name Mercedes? Yeah. Did they actually say it in the episode?
I think Brian is kind of selfish, Claire. Oh no. I kind of like Jacob. He can be molded. Yeah. She wanted more ethnic black.
It's probably true.
Do you know what's the funny part though? Is like when I first looked at Ryan, I thought he was mixed, but he's not. Like, I mean, I don't know.
Both his parents are very
like his mother is black, but his mother is black in a way that you can tell. His father looks whatever, but I think he said that his father was Creole. So I mean, that is mixed.
Okay.
So, but he looks different than his brother, like they look alike,
honestly,
but his brother looks more unambiguously black.
I think it's the hair.
It is the hair.
I think it's only because of the hair.
Y'all think that's real? Like his slick back is...
No, he grew it out and he permed it. It's permed. That's his hair. Yes.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Like, I meant, is that his hair texture?
A long time ago. That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, so we've confirmed that her name is Mercedes.
All right, cool. Thank you, Lee. Yeah, so it's an interesting style, Ryan. We would like you to give us the backstory on that.
Only dates white women, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's no issues there. It's just that he particularly, it's his choice. I'm not gonna judge anybody's choices, but he particularly is just like he just like changed his whole aura, like his style changed and everything in order to
like kind of wave the flag that like, hey, this is the kind of person that I'm into.
See, Lee agrees. I think that's definitely fair. A perm. Like that hair is like it's slick. It's interesting. It's very interesting.
Yeah. All right. So
Chris and Paige, we had a first scene where Chris sat down with his pastor friend and then the other dude that was at the wedding. And I couldn't tell if this was more producer setup or not, but it seemed like these were authentic reactions from his pastor friend.
Well, so his pastor, I'm pretty sure Chris's pastor married them.
They did. He did.
He did,
you're
right?
You're right. Mm-hmm.
So Chris's pastor has like,
I was involved. He had me on the show, and you out here BSing. Like, come on.
Chris was like, listen, he basically said I didn't get what I wanted at the wedding.
The very first thing, and could have been editing, but I don't think it was. The very first thing, because Chris has his narrative, right? His bullshit comes from this formed narrative that he just sticks to. He thinks everybody's going to be convinced by. His first narrative, the very first thing he told his pastor friend, was she walked down the aisle and I was not happy about it. That was it.
And he wants you to say,
oh, yeah, right.
That's horrible. Mm-hmm. That's right. That means that you should be able to do whatever you want to do. And his pastor was like, nope.
You wild.
His pastor said, you're selfish.
And then he explained that I had sex with her. And I'm pretty sure these are verbatim.
Yeah.
And he was like, I was hoping I would magically be attracted to her after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How young are you? Like, someone called
he's a man child.
Oh, Jacob called it in Unfiltered. He was like, it's so junior high school of you.
Yeah.
Like, you're literally being a child. And then, so he continues with the narrative. He tells his friends that he's got a baby on the way, and he doesn't want to raise someone else to raise his child, and he's going to get a divorce.
You could tell his pastor's just embarrassed at this point. Yeah. Like, I brought myself on this show.
Swallowing hard.
And you're out here clowning. Like, his pastor was just like, no, you're not on the right page. Like, I need you to pull it back. You're being extremely selfish. I don't think this is a reason for you to just abandon this marriage, and rightfully so.
And he called him out spiritually. He said, listen, you're the one that says, and you know that above everything. Yeah. How are you taking that into accord right now? You're not. You're being selfish.
Yeah.
So...
I was, you know what? I feel like the pastor didn't really have a choice, because at this point, like, you don't marry somebody and then 2 weeks later they're like, yeah, I want to get a divorce. Like, because he came in, his pastor was there the whole time. I want to say
he said before
counseling him before they got married.
He was like, yo,
so it just looks bad.
Don't bring your old drama into this relationship. Yeah. Are you free of that? And the dude was like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Obviously that wasn't the case.
No,
it wasn't. He was. Lee Pepper says, and Chris was so disrespectful. I don't think this is his pastor. I just think he's a friend who is a pastor.
No, I think that's his pastor.
Oh.
But I don't know.
No, because when in like earlier episodes, in earlier episodes, it was like, whenever I'm down here, or this is the church that he runs, something like that. I don't think it's his pastor, but we can confirm that. He could not take the heat.
No,
they were giving.
He does that with everybody. He does that with everybody. That's what I'm saying. Like, Chris is a man child. When people don't, he thinks, because I'm honestly telling you how I'm feeling right now, That means that you're
not allowed to speak back or disagree.
That I'm allowed to now make moves how I want to make them, remove myself from the situation, to make a total 180 because I don't like it. I'm uncomfortable. I am sad. I'm mad at this situation. I didn't get what I wanted. And so, and when his pastor or his wife or Pastor Cal tells him
he shuts down.
He cannot.
So he literally shut down in that moment. He was like, I'm done with this. I don't even want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, he was like, I'm not being disrespectful, but I'm done with this conversation. You are being disrespectful. You are, Chris. I don't know how many times you have said to everybody for different things, I'm not being disrespectful. Just because you say it doesn't make it true.
Right. What he's realizing is that everything he's telling himself is absolute BS. Like, he can't even say it, right?
It's like a 3-year-old.
He got used to saying it, and this is my theory. We know for sure he's gotten used to saying it to the producers and to Paige.
Saying what?
Just the narrative, saying, I'm not that attracted to you. I have an ex-fiancée. I still love her. I don't want anyone else to raise my child. Yeah. Right? Like, those are the combinations that's going to allow him to exit this scenario. This is the story he's crafted, right? Yeah. Whenever he's sitting down and talking to people that are like, that's some BS, he cannot handle it because his narrative falls apart because it's literally built on bullshit. But my theory is...
toddler.
My theory is he went home, right? He's from Chicago, right?
Yes.
He either went home and talked to his parents, or he's called them multiple times and he's given them the narrative. Yeah. And because they are his parents, they agree with it. And so it's given them the gumption to go ahead. Or they get him out.
It's like if you're raised as a child where you tell your parents, somebody, this sport or this new skill, this instrument or whatever, math class was too hard. I don't want to do it. I feel dumb. And they're like, all right, let's get you into somebody. Let me go raise hell on your behalf and not tell you to try, not tell you to do your best, not tell you to get back in there, not hold you accountable or make you uncomfortable. This is the kind of adult that you end up with who's a child. He cannot handle things that are difficult, and he throws tantrums and to the point where it's just like, I don't understand how women are attracted to you. And I feel like because he just can talk.
We'll get there, but the way Mercedes looks at him, no one is attracted to him for very long because they start realizing how much bullshit
I don't think they're attracted to him, but I think that a lot of people are taking ownership over him. Well, he can't handle his own emotions or he can't handle his own life. So let me, let me give the emotions that he can't give, that he's unable to. And I did notice that with Mercedes, even when she was like giving him shade or whatever, or giving him a little bit of grief. But let's talk about it. Oh, yes. Because we haven't really got to it. So, Eric has notes.
I always take notes, y'all. Like,
first of all, Eric transcribed the whole show, guys.
I was taking notes. I was like, yeah, that's juicy. I got that. Yes.
So here's what I got. Chris said nothing. This was the Paige and Mercedes show.
It was.
They basically, like last week.
And I don't think that was editing.
Yeah, this was the ladies.
Couldn't say shit.
Yeah. What do you mean he couldn't say?
Like, he could not say anything because he was literally egg on his face the whole time.
Sometimes I think people not saying anything is strategy. I think it's I did some shady stuff. Instead of me saying more things to get incriminate myself, you say nothing and see how much fire they're going to put you under. So I think it was tactical.
That makes sense.
So basically, Paige and Mercedes were exchanging notes, comparing notes. Paige
Mercedes and Chris walked in like a couple, like dressed to the nines.
And Paige was like, "Oh, y'all look nice."
Yeah.
Because they really did. It was just like
sat on the same couch, like Paige over here in this chair, this bucket chair. So they're over there on the couch together.
It was
mind you, Mercedes' body language to Chris the entire time was like, she was pointed away from him, leaned into Mercedes, and she was giving him the looks into Paige. Yeah.
Yeah. I just think Mercedes, first of all, I think it was weird that Chris called Paige and she even agreed to it, right? But we understand there's background characters. I think that it was weird. How are you going to call me to a meeting and then you leave me? It was like Paige was leading the meeting. Right. Like she's like, I don't have any problems with you. She's like, at this point, I don't have any questions. So like, I'm an open book. If you have questions for me, you can ask me, Mercedes, but like, I don't have any questions. Oh, and by the way, I also thought, that I could be pregnant by him, which seemed to be news really to Mercedes.
Important point to mention.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think that entire scenario would have been pretty much a waste. But
Chris is, I don't know what he's been saying to you,
exactly
doing with you, but he's been doing that same stuff with me.
Let's be absolutely honest. Let's lay it out on the table.
Yeah.
And because he'd be BSing. Yeah. I know he'd be BSing. Let's stop playing through the grapevine, because this is the thing that I can tell. He's also taught Mercedes to keep it behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Because the way she was reacting to him and the things she was learning about him, it was very much like, it's just the eyes, just the slights. Like, I'm trying to communicate with you without embarrassing you. Wait till we get into private, that type of thing. So he's taught her a whole lot.
Yeah. I mean,
truth.
Yeah. I am glad that Paige wasn't, was respectful. I feel like she threw her shade, but it was mostly directed at Chris. Yes. And she spoke it specifically to Mercedes. Like, let me let you know, this has been my entire experience with him.
This is why I was there.
I just think I just think it's funny how he tells me he's getting back with you for y'all to raise your child. I mean, I am his wife.
Right.
And that's a little strange to me.
Say it.
But so I came here for, with a pure heart and pure intentions. I'm not sure what he had going on over there, but this is how I came into it. And now he wants to leave me for y'all to raise your child together. I just want to let you know that even after he said that, he then told me he was afraid of falling in love with me. So I don't know what to do with that. Right. And you can do with it as you may.
As you may.
I just, I feel like Paige, everybody's been wanting her to grow a backbone. And I feel like she finally did grow a backbone.
Yes, this is episode. As much as we're going to get out of Paige, because just like Ryan, she's conscious of how she comes across on TV.
She is.
Which is fine. Like, listen.
Paige got 2 jobs.
Right.
Two Paige jobs. Like, she's like, I'm not going to come out here
looking crazy. And I'm not. Thankfully, right, the spotlight was pointed on the person with the actual blame. There was no distractions of like she did this or she did that, or you were in the way, or you were, because at first we were like, this is shady. Maybe him and Mercedes have concocted this idea together.
Yes,
maybe
I was worried about that.
Maybe there's no Mercedes at all. Like, there's just so much behind it that was like, we don't know if this is even true, because we could both tell he was just coming up with every lie possible so he could get out of this marriage. He just wasn't being truthful about it. At the end of the day, you just don't want to be married to Paige.
That's what it is.
Say that.
Because even in his conversation with his pastor friend, he wanted them on his side. Like, listen, I wasn't happy to begin with. So basically, this baby is really an opportunity for me to go. And I can do so in a way that makes me look
like I'm taking the high road.
Yes.
Like I'm so righteous.
No, I'm going with my family. And the pastor rightfully was like, your wife is your family. She's your family. That's your ex, and you walked away from that situation. Like, let's be clear on that. You walked away from it because it wasn't working, or maybe Mercedes walked away. We don't know.
And then the other guy was like, if you had a baby with, or was a Paige? It was like, if you had a baby with me, would you walk away from me? Like,
Paige said that. That was really good too. That was really good, because she's like, I need to establish his character. Right. I need to run down the list of Chris's character. What did she use?
Duplicitous.
That was good.
That was good. I was like, ooh, I'm writing that down.
It was a really good one. I felt like Paige, all the measuring that she had done this, for this last couple of episodes, that she really pulled it together and listed why he's not really to be trusted, and he's not as good of a person as he says,
as he thinks he is, or says he is, to anybody.
As he portrays himself to be. And I think she did it in a calm way. She did it in a class. She maintained her dignity, because that was some of the issue, is that, like, You know, it just felt like, where is your dignity?
Yeah, he was stealing her power, he was stealing her dignity, and he was, keeping her in isolation and stealing her joy and keeping her in isolation away from everybody. And, we can tell that Paige is not, she's not going to be walked over.
Yeah.
But she will stack the evidence up so that it's not going to be a back and forth about it. I'm going to let you know that I know that you saw some BS.
Yeah.
And when it's done, it's done. But she's even now, I think she was like, literally, this was a process. It was even less about you as a person. This was a process I signed up to join.
Right.
And I was gung-ho
and I wasn't
the very beginning.
Playing with it. I wasn't playing about that.
There
I
was
came
no
to seriously to get married.
And I can respect that.
And I love that she said, I got the short end of the stick here. Like, not him, as much as he's going to try to say that. Because he wasn't happy. Because he started saying that from the day after the wedding. Like, everybody else got what they wanted. I didn't. And she's like, be clear. I didn't want this. I didn't deserve this. Right. This is not what I signed up for. You ran me through the coals. Here's the thing. So Paige says she's done, right? But Chris, before this meeting is over, he finds a way to storm out. He throws a little tantrum saying she's being shady and rude and disrespectful.
It's even worse
and I'm not going to have it. He tries to say, don't talk to her, talk to me. Well, you brought her here. You wanted us to have a meeting. I can talk to Mercedes. And Mercedes is basically like, she's actually being very respectful, Chris.
The pettiness of it was that Paige was talking. I think she was sort of wrapping it up. Like, all right, this is about to be over. I forget what she was saying. And Chris had the audacity to then be like, all right, I'm ready to get some food. I'm going to order some food. I'm going to get home and order some food. And he just kept talking.
The child jumped out.
Allow her to speak again. And it's just like, yo, bro, like, you have no idea. You're going to lose some friends off of this. Your pastor's going to be like, you some BS. Who are you? And
I
this to this woman.
But this raises the question, right? Like, who holds men accountable? I feel like when women, do this kind of stuff, it's like everybody comes down, and we can see we all did it. We're all like, Paige, what is wrong with you? Get out of here. Run for your life, run for the hills. I said
it's been 6 days.
You had. I think I said that too. I don't know. I had to go. We'll have to check the receipts on ourselves. But
my anger kicked in the last episode when she was still like, "Don't tell me that."
Yeah, it was the smile for me. There was a lot of weird, awkward laughing. I'm not gonna lie. Like, did y'all notice that the ex-fiancée was laughing at times? Paige was smiling and laughing awkwardly. So maybe they just all have this weird, like, I'm gonna laugh, smile when things are uncomfortable. But it was just strange.
I think that was uncomfortable.
What else did I have written down? So I said, what have we learned from the ex? I just want to know, like, is she stupid too? Because honestly, she seems, I can't say that she seems like she could have it together.
She could have it
But
together,
at the end of the
also
day,
seems like she doesn't mind dealing with his mess. But of course, they've been together. So
what did she say? So when we last left off, when we made the predictions, we predicted that she was going to say,
but that's not the case. We are not trying to get back together.
Chris may have alluded to the fact that we're getting back together, but we're not. And what she said
was like,
she said it, but with a caveat. And the caveat was, that's not where my head is at right now. And here's my thing about pregnant women. I can say that because I've been pregnant, is that you can feel how you're going to feel, but there is a point where you get to in your pregnancy. And if this baby lasts,
pregnancy is hard, y'all, and you need help.
And so I wouldn't be surprised if she went back and leaned on Chris, if this pregnancy continues, because you need help. And even if the father of your child is a mess, she may want to give him an opportunity or a shot to step up for her, because all pregnant women need that support.
Yeah, she definitely needs.
And she didn't draw a firm line. It was like I'm gonna put like a stake in sand, and
the biggest thing about it is that while they were there, now mind you, we got to talk about the trailer for next week. because it just
Gosh,
blows everything.
it's already 11:25. It's been an hour. It's been about an hour. Okay, that's what
I thought having fun, right?
Yeah, I thought we were doing. I actually thought we were going longer, so that's cool. We're doing all right.
Okay, so basically, the entire time that Mercedes is there,
Mm-hmm.
she is like her and Chris have spoken about these things. They've come to consensus about these things. There's discussion.
That's what she thought.
Right, obviously. Consensus with the pieces of information that he gave her at the time. But the way, and it was all up until the end, it was very much like, all right, you got me here, but I know that we're going home together type feeling. It wasn't until the end where it was like, we going home together and I will have questions, was the look that she was having. But at the end of the day, it still seemed like we have something, not just the baby, but something else. We're going to figure this out.
Because they were engaged, and at the end of the day, they still have more history than Chris has with Paige.
15 days of history.
But here's the reality, and we know how these divorces on these shows work. Depending on the state they're in, these divorces can last longer than the marriages. And therefore, even if both parties walk away from this point forward, they're still going to have to deal with each other because there's going to be paperwork going back and forth.
True.
And it's just kind of like, because Iris and just got divorced, like Keith, like this past summer, And so I think they had to wait a year to be separated before they could file for divorce officially. And so it's just
with only 15 days, they may be able to go with the annulment situation.
I think the show writes it in the contract that you can't get annulled. That's why I think that that guy from like a couple seasons ago, he had to sue to try to get annulled. Like it's not an easy.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Because that's the point. They don't want you to just walk away because we'd see way more annulments,
That's very true.
After 2 days or what have you. But anyway, I think that, so do we think that this is the end for Chris and Paige? Spoiler alert, they look like they were together.
Well, they sat down again.
To sit down, like for either the next, I don't know if it's the next episode, but I think it's some point in the season. Because it seemed more like now we're just kind of moving ahead, not like exactly on the next episode.
That's true. That may be the case. But at the end of the day, we see another scene where Chris and Paige are sitting down and he tries to throw the same BS at her about like, I might be falling in love with you or something like that. And then you see her.
Yeah, he does say that again.
You see her get up and leave. Like, that's some BS.
Which hopefully she did right away.
Hopefully. So
I just don't get him. I don't even have.
I get him. He's like, I have a better option and I want to go with it. The better option ended, so I gotta continue with what I got right now. And I'm trying all this time to pretend like I'm the good, righteous, God-fearing man that I'm not.
I do think he sees in Paige the women in his life, his mother, his grandmother, maybe a little bit his ex-fiancée, the people who have coddled him.
He may see his women in her, but he does not see her as a woman or as a person. So
that he desires, he wants to see her in a different package. But I think that he has the tools to realize like there's a reason why they put us together, but she doesn't come in the package that I want her. And I think his inner child is like, I'm so distracted by the package that I can't really give her a real shot. And she was willing to give him the shot. But at the end of the day, like, I just feel like for Paige, he's not the one. He has the words, the gift of gab, but he's just not mature enough. I think Chris, from what I've seen on social media, I would say the social media dragging that he's got this season, that hopefully it would inspire him to grow. But I just don't know, because he just seems really defensive.
Yeah, even when people that he trusts and love and have his best interests at heart, he cannot sit and hear what they have to say about his actions being wrong. Because if their opinions of his actions don't line up with the end result that he wants, he's not going to take it in.
Yeah.
He's not going to take it in. So whether it's Paige or Mercedes, he may be more attracted to Mercedes or whatever, but he don't respect either one of those women.
Yeah.
That's probably why they broke up.
Hi, JS. Yeah, we talked about Ryan a little bit ago, so you have to go back.
We'll drop this.
We have some thoughts about Ryan. But yeah, Chris. Yeah, I don't know. So it looks like Chris and Paige are probably like the show is pulling back from them. They may be sprinkled in, probably like Olivia and the other guy last season. Every once in a while, they kind of talk and have a conversation.
Talking to one of the experts, just like what's going on, how did it go, situation.
But honestly, I'm a little bit relieved to just kind of have regular stuff to talk about, because it became so ridiculous. And also, you just don't like to see one person as getting all of this sort of negativity thrown their way, like especially when you're so excited to have this opportunity. Yeah, and it's not about trauma. And I feel like,
this is a traumatic
what do you do to a 25-year-old woman to put her through this? Like, that's a lot. Like, she didn't deserve that. Paige did not deserve that. And I'm not gonna wish anything negative on Chris, but I wish for him. I wish growth for him. I wish
I want him to
growth.
Because at the end of the day, he is he's a little deluded.
Man, Child in the Promised Land. That's a book, right?
I think The Promised Land is a book, and I think Man Child is a book. I'm not sure Man Child in the Promised Land.
I swear we have that book somewhere,
but okay. Don't.
So anyway, are you guys? Yes, are you guys gonna keep watching after this? I know some people were like, "We're done with this show. Like we've been taking on this roller coaster. We're just kind of done. We will still be here next week. We'll see how it goes. If there's any other shows that you guys are interested in us reviewing, we're open to that as well. We do have. We kind of just generally talk about things that are important to us. Like we're kind of on this journey of glowing up ourselves, as a married couple, 6 years in. And so, there's other things that we like to talk about, but we do get into these, pop culture kind of things. And so
when the Insecure episode comes out, Insecure season,
that's my favorite.
Reviewing all of those, all of them. But yes, thank you so much for joining. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, comment. Thank you guys. Lee Pepper, Mrs. O, JS Lewin, Giovanni, Diamond. Thank you guys for
tuning in with us,
and contributing and commenting and engaging.
Yeah, you can find us pretty much everywhere on Glowing Up Podcast. So we're on Instagram. We're not on Twitter.
Podcast.
Oh, I know. A whole mess.
It's okay. Instagram is at Glowing Up Black Podcast. Our website is glowingupblack.com. And we'll see you guys soon. We usually we try to do twice a week. We're trying, this is our baby channel. So we'll be, we'll definitely be here with you guys.
Definitely subscribe and we'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good one.